The piece written in 1980 was at a time when we were supposedly enemies in 1980, I think, because of the Cold War and whatever. And, we, and I'm sure you were too, were constantly, in a way, concerned about the possibility of nuclear war. It was a terrible worry, really, and it affected the way we thought, I think, a lot of the time, because, when you got a sort of almost a death sentence hanging over you, you think differently. And my Symphony Number 1 is quite, for me, it's quite a sort of devastating piece. It's a very dark sort of piece. It's got a lot of, illusions, or it's got a lot of ideas in it which are to do with the possibility of nuclear war and the horror of it. The second symphony is a much more, much more pastoral. The first symphony is I think very international, and it has some influence from, to a certain extent, from people like Shostakovich, I think, and the darkness of Shostakovich. Whereas, I mean, it's still my symphony, but it just has some influence from there. Whereas the second symphony, I think, is very much me, and very it's very English. It has a lot of pastoral elements, aspects of description of beauty and countryside and that sort of thing. On the other hand, it does have still some pretty dark qualities as well, and I think it's a sort of coming together of those things. It's because I think my style in the end is very much a melding of I don't know, internationalism, world music. When I was a professor at the City University in Birmingham Conservatoire, I became very, very interested in, and got the students very interested in, all the composition students, in music from different parts of the world. And we set up a degree course, for example, in Raga Sangeet, the music of India, and we also had elements of African music. We had African drumming and that kind of thing. We had Native American music. We had European folk music from different parts of Europe. And because of that, it had a strong influence on my own music. And I think the Symphony Number 2 begins to show that, because although it's primarily English, it also has a lot of folk music in it, I think, basically folk music of different parts of Europe. And by the time we get to the third symphony, there's elements of music from this country, from Europe, but more from places like areas of America. Symphony Number 3 is a very, very complex symphony in that it has very, very rhythmic complexity, very much so. And I think the strength of those rhythms comes in the fact that it's multi-rhythmic, so that you get players from different parts of the orchestra playing in different times, which is quite easy for them because they're able to coordinate it in terms of, a quaver, a crotchet, a semi-breve is the same, whether it's the cellos playing or the horns or whatever. But they're playing still in different times. Quite a lot of people have said that, actually, about film music and about nature and whatever. I think they're absolutely right. But film music is something that I would never want to write because, again, it's to do with control. I don't like being controlled by anybody. And the idea of writing music under the control of a film director rather appalls me. You know, I don't like the idea at all. I like to be in control at any one time of the kind of thing I'm writing about or whatever. And if you're commissioned to write a piece about a specific thing, which lasts a certain number of seconds or minutes or whatever, I don't think I could do it, actually, because I like to be free. A lot of people I found when I was in hospital in Stoke Mandeville, I was in there for 9 months, so I got to know what it was like to be in a hospital, you know, in that time. And I never ever lost my optimism. Never did. I don't know why, but I don't tend to have that capacity to lose optimism. Never have really, have I? And also, having Cynthia living there, she actually came and lived there most of the time. She rented a flat nearby, and having her there a lot of the time and working together on how to overcome all this was tremendous. I mean, she's an inspiring woman, and I just found that kept me going. In there were dark times, there always are, aren't there? There still are, but not many. Usually feel very optimistic and happy about things.
It's my favourite music, really. I mean, I love loads of composers, but if I play their music too much, I often tire of them. But I never tire of Andrew's music. It really is, there's something special about it. For example, I've been preparing this piece that we're performing next week because I'm conducting it. And there's so many layers to Andrew's music, you really have to get to know it. And I've been preparing it for months now, and I haven't got tired of it at all, whereas other pieces that I'm working on as a violinist, you can get tired of them, but never his music. There's something about it so natural and so beautiful, really. If you can't feel your legs, it doesn't mean to say you don't feel pain. You get spasms which cause pain, and you get phantom pains because all the signals down your spine are going in the wrong direction. So I think the composition helps that enormously. I think when we were younger, we had more dreams, and we gradually realised that you can only fulfil your dreams with hard work, which is what we did. I think since the accident, we're still working hard, but we're more satisfied with life. I think and of course we've got older, and so you don't have the same drive as when you're younger. So you're satisfied with more easily satisfied, I would say. So as long as you've got calm in your life, I think that's the most important thing, really.